Right, this is me debarbing a size 14 dry fly hook, fairly standard. It's actually an Umpqua, but it's a standard for dry fly hook. Down eye dry. Starting some olive thread, brown olive this is, but you can use any of the olives really. And I'm taking it back to the bend of the hook. I like to trim off the thread about halfway along, unless I'm using the tag as a rib. Just a habit, I don't know why I've got that habit. And I want to stop the thread before the bend of the, it starts to go down the bend of the hook. This is seals for dub. This is the dressing calls for green. This is actually chartreuse, but it's, as you can see, it's a green. It's old stuff. It's a bit hard, this dubbing. Some of the synthetics would be easier to work with, and any good seals for sub is fine. This, I'm twisting it always in the same direction. I've pulled it out, teased it out along the thread, and I'm twisting it to make it wrap around the thread, bringing it up to the hook. You can see how thin I'm trying to make this spindle of fibres. I'm just trying to cover the thread. A couple of turns and then tighten that up a wee bit, and then start winding forwards in touching turns. And I can draw back the dubbing because it is some messy stuff really. You see it as close as this, and if I draw the fibres back, I can get the thread turns, thread wraps closer together. And I'm coming forward to maybe 2 eyes widths back from the eye, something like that. And then a few turns at the front. Now, I'm going to pull back the fibres in a moment. I'm going to pull back the fibres and make a couple of turns there just to clean up the area where the deer hair is going to go. I'm going to dress it onto that thread cone, which will help it stop spinning. This is coastal deer, quite a fine deer. It's imported, it's American. I'll prepare a small bunch to make a wing. I want it longer. You can see I'm measuring the length there. I want it slightly longer than the hook shank and slightly over the eye. I'm going to cut the butts. And then just take the thread over, pinch and loop once, twice, and then pull, and the tips flare, and I'm wrapping into the bunch at the head just to stop it spinning round. Onto the hook shank, make a wee head, and then I'm going to whip finish. Five turn whip finish, and then I'll do a second whip because I've got plenty of space. I can make and I'm not worried about size. So for security, I'll do it again. And I touch that with varnish, just soak that the thread with varnish. And that's it. That's the fly finished. Now you can see that head is it's not a muddler, if you know what a muddler is. It's just a tuft. It just forms that sort of head really. You can trim it if you want to, as I'm doing here. This is a working patch of coastal deer hair. It's a tanned patch. I'm picking a small bunch up and I'm trying to pull the fibres up at an angle so the tips roughly line up. Hold it tight, cut it close to the skin, close as I can. And you can see there's fluff and debris, the under fur in there, so I'm going to pull all that out to prepare the wing. And just hold it at the tips, stroke down with your fingers and it will come out. You can comb it, but this is just as easy. You get rid of the debris. Now, switch hands, which I'll do in a second. And the tips, you can see some strays there, so I'll get away and I'll line up the bunch, but I'm not going to stack it. I'm not going to use a hair stacker. I'm just sorting it out there. And that's going to be the tip of my wing. I'm going to hold the very tips, and I'm going to pull out any short fibres. So all I've got are fibres that go from where I tie in to the tip of the wing. And that's my bunch prepared. And I wouldn't put that down, I'd keep that in my hand and put it straight onto the fly. This is a little tuft of seal's fur pulled out of the packet. You can see it's just a bunch of fibres. Now, a lot of the fibres will be too short, and you can see the debris that's fallen onto the paper there as I pull it apart and remake the bunch. If you do that, you get less of these daft wee fibres that don't actually do anything. And then I might do that again. If I was mixing colours, I'd do the same thing. I pull the tuft apart and then push it together again. Then tease it out a wee bit. That's it, ready to go onto the thread. And when it goes onto the thread, what you're doing is this: you're twisting it in one direction. And you can see I'm making the start of a rope, if you like, or a twist of dubbing, and it stays together. That's the important thing. It doesn't fall apart once you've twisted it up like that.